All right, folks. Kicking off some shoulders. As you always know, overhead press and variation. And get ready for a long ride because we got 12 sets of 3 here again. Again, remember, these next few phases, we're gonna be testing out 3 RMs every time. We keep working out to our top set, right? So that's why we're doing 12 sets here. Because we need 12 sets to keep building up, keep finding to the point, that threshold where we can't push that 3 RM anymore, right? So again, and then as the next phase comes along, different ways, different lows, different intensities, different frequencies, all those things like that, right? After this phase. And you just keep rinsing and repeating, see if things working, see if you're getting stronger, see if the weight's increasing, all those things along that lines, right? And especially too, with me having 4,000 calories, I don't see no reason why my strength and everything else be increased as time goes on. Because this morning, I woke up at 235.2. So, I mean, everything's working as according to plan, right? Have 4,000 calories, chilling 235 still. So, shit's moving along, shit's moving well. And this is the mistake a lot of people do when they try and bulk or put on muscle mass. And now get into that after the set right here. They don't do the they had it going in the store. You get to the sun and see what it's so Patagonia and turn it in, you feel like it's Patagonia out. Some places are. Amazon, and I have to go for roll up and one gang. Again, we'll do 90 seconds here. If we need to, we'll increase it 2 minutes. But the mistake a lot of people do when they're bulking is, and I've been there myself too before, is, when you think of bulking, you think about eating anything, everything inside, right? Because you eat a shit ton amount of food just to put on muscle, right? You do put on some muscle, but what I'm telling you, you're doing is you're putting more fat on the muscle. So it becomes hard to, when you go in a deficit, it's hard to lose the weight because you got more fat than you want muscle at the time. And so, and the mistake people do again is they think they have to eat a lot of food. And even though you might think 4,000 calories is a lot of food, probably the most of y'all, right? And especially for being natural, you might think that's impossible. It's possible. You just have to slowly build yourself up over time, right? And it's just like anything else you do when it comes to exercise, right? Let's just take squat, for example. When you first, start learning to squat, you just did body weight, right? And then over time, as you keep progressing, as you keep mastering the skill, next thing you know, you're squatting underneath the bar. It's the same thing with your body, same thing with your metabolism, the same thing when it comes to consumption of food. Because you got to slowly build yourself over time. And so to give you examples, cool, if you see me eat 5, 6+ thousand calories in one sitting, it's you might look at it as man, if you do that, you blow up like a balloon, which that might be true because you're not used to it. And so how you get used to it? And so how you get used to it is by slowly increasing those calorie consumption, whether it's over time or that's whether one thing, right? And let's say you take one day out of the week. You say you want to try to eat 2,000 calories in one sitting, right? I was cool. You attempt it. If you fail, let's say you only get 1,500. Then you find your baseline 1,500 in one sitting. That's the amount you can consume, right? Cool. Start doing that. Start seeing how often can you complete 1,500 calories in one sitting. To the point you feel man, you're not you're satisfied, right? You're not full, but you're not hungry, but it's right in the middle, right? And it's cool. You can increase it to 2,000 and slowly ramp up calories over time. And the same thing with me getting to 4,000 calories. I started off when I was at 2,800. I slowly built myself to 3,200. I slowly built myself up to 3,600, right? Now I'm at, around 4,000. But this before when I used to bulk, I'll be eating around 38 to 4,200 calories. But again, I was sitting around 250, 255, and my body composition wasn't looking the way I want to. But now looking this route with me having 4,000 calories, weighing 15 to 20 pounds less at 235, and me having, probably 8 to 10% body fat, having 8-pack abs, it tells me it's like, cool. Like all the things I was doing in the past was the wrong way. And seeing this transition, seeing this like changes, it's the right way. And I was like, no, it's like, cool. This is exactly the position I need to be to either get in two ways. If I just want to maintain my bulk right now and just stay there, or keep increasing my calories as I go on. Again, it all depends on how your journey goes. And it all depends on how your body responds to a certain amount of calories and things like that. So 4. Let's move up the weight a little bit. I got 170. Let's go 180. How you doing this morning? Good. Woo. So you just gotta like, you want to be the person that you want to eat more food, but look a certain way too. It's like, doing naturally too is like, it takes a while. It takes a while for your body to respond. It takes a while for your body to adapt to and that certain amount of food intake. And it's like, 4,000 calories didn't happen overnight. It's been getting 4 years, been making it for me to do so. And at the same time, it's, again, a lot of trials and errors. A lot of like food combinations, different meal ideas, different meal plans, all those things like that, right? There's a combination of trying to figure out, like before when I was like first getting bodybuilding, I'll do Greek yogurt, I'll do granola, I would do Pop Tart with protein powder with it too. That was right before bed. Now, could things be different if I were to do that earlier on the day with that amount of sugar, and having that much of food consumption on bed? Probably so, right? But as time goes on, but to learn like, Greek yogurt really doesn't sit well with my body too well, and plus other dairy products too. So as long as like that's something I had to get at, had to find substitutions for it, right? Sitting there cottage cheese, I can't really do cottage cheese either. So it's like, try and find something that's like, because I always look at that meal as like a sweet tooth snack, right? It's like ice cream with a type of like yogurt with like blueberries in a sense, right? So that's how I always looked at that sense. So it's like trying to find another meal substitute with that kind of sweet tooth in a sense. it was a little difficult, but like over time, just found like, I just use fruits and like everything protein powder as a sense like that. What's that?
Bye forever.
Bye forever. For real this time? All right. I say.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Thanks.
Enjoy.
Thank you.
Just don't do anything I want to do, all right?
Oh, anyway.
So it's just like, just like learning, like knowing the foods too, right? So, and same thing when it comes to like fun foods, like shit, pasta, nah, that shit blow me up. Sometimes even bread too, like bread doesn't sit well with me. So I have to be careful on the bread selection as well, the quantity of the bread, right? Like, no, you probably see me down like, the McDonald's, like, had a shit ton of buns and things like that. But it's very rare that I eat bread myself, right, in my meals. Like, I don't have like toast. I don't have like other sources of bread to go along with meals. So like when I do that against something different with like a bison I used to, and my body can withstand it for a little bit, But if I do like consecutive amount of days, I'll just be bloated. I'll be inflamed. I'll just blow up like a balloon. I can guarantee you that. So again, it's like through the process and through the journey, you learn to navigate, you learn to adapt, you learn to figure out the food structures that sit well with your body that don't, and you just kind of stick with it, right? Now again, so again, you might see my meals as kind of boring, but at the same time, you can do many options with those meals. What is this at 7? All right, what was that here? We'll go up to 190. And we do probably 2 minutes there. So, and that's the process. And that's why it takes so long to increase the food intake, because you try and still figure out the foods that work with you. And it's like for me, when I have my fun foods, like you see me do, I'll do other challenges that may go against it, because again, it's something that I know my body can tolerate. And I'm paying a little bit of consequences, but most of the time, you see me having like some type of burgers, some type of pizza, possibly some wings, some other different sandwiches, things like that. So you probably see that. But again, it's something I don't eat regularly on my plan of like, I said bread consumption, stuff like that. Now, if I do get spaghetti, I would have to do some type of gluten-free to somewhat enjoy, to the point where I know I'm not gonna feel bloated and things like that too. So that's the things you gotta understand. That's why it takes a while for, things to work and things to, fall into place by just knowing the foods. But it's like once you do know foods, it's like cool. Then you know how to maneuver, you know how to plug and play, then you know how to figure out how much you need to take back into the positions to wherever you want to go. Again, whether it's that's bulking, whether it's cutting, things along those lines, right? So that's why it's just, in the process of doing these things, it's difficult, it's hard, because you're still trying to learn, you're still trying to understand all these things that happen, all the responses that is coming to your body. And that's why it takes a process too, and that's why you got to be patient with it. Let's go 190. 2 minutes for these last 4. Oh, damn, just got this my dough powder up. But going back to what I was saying earlier, like you might see my meals as boring. I mean, to me, it's not. But just for you guys, it might be cool. You know, you can do different like combinations with my meals, right? You just have beef and rice, maybe some type of vegetable of your sort of your choice. So cool. You can make it maybe like a wrap with it, right? Have a tortilla, a little bit of rice, you know, ground beef, you know, your toppings, your vegetables, tomatoes, lettuce, however you like it, and then some type of sauce, and boom, that's a meal for you right there, right? So classified as the same thing. She might add additional and might be making more like a burrito, like some type of style for you. Or same thing for me. What I've been doing is just like, yeah, even though I'll be like doing rice and beef, but like I found a way to make it more like a taco type bowl style, where I had like rice, beef, and at the time I was doing lettuce, but now I kind of switched to peas, and then I found this sauce called picante, 10 calories for like, you know, 1 to 2 tablespoons of serving. So I'm like, hell yeah, you know, I'll do that, and then I put taco seasoning in my beef, so it's like a taco bowl in a sense for myself. You know, again, doesn't have the extra toppings, but at the same time, it still tastes like a taco bowl. So there's like different combinations you can do with this that meal itself, right? You can make a burrito, you can make a bowl, you can just have it as it is. Shit, you can even like make fucking hamburgers with it too, right? You can have like hamburgers, you know, couch and fries, or use the frozen fries, however you want to do it. And boom, there you go. Maybe have some vegetable with it, you know, and you're good to go on these days. So there's different ways you can make combinations of meals. It's all again based on you planning around again the foods you like, foods that work well with you, and just find different combinations. So if you're a person that gets bored of the meal, don't like leftovers, that cool. Find different ways. Have a list of log of foods that you can do. Have different combinations, so you don't get bored of it, so you don't get tired of it. And that's the way you gotta go about it. And once you have that, it's like cool. Then like again, it's stress free because you can just look at the list of all the combinations you have, figure out what you want that for a week, that day, and just go about it, right? At a time, then you don't have to worry about like tracking calories in a sense by, you know, figuring out like how much like, you know, like 6 ounces of beef is, how much like, you know, 3 ounces of rice is and things like that. You already have it by now, you already have it all together. It's like cool. Let's just say like, you know, like a burger bowl is like, you know, let's just say for example, like 500 calories, it's 40 grams of protein, you know, maybe like 75 grams of carbs and like maybe 20 grams of fat. I was like, cool, you already know the macros. I mean, I'm just making numbers up. It's not exactly ideal. But, you know, you already know the macros that go into that meal. So when you're making it, all you have to do is just weigh it through a scale or however you want to go about it. And you already know the macros, so you don't have to think twice about it. It's like, cool, you already know this 500 calories worth, and your person is like, you know, having a specific calorie target intake. It's like, cool, you already know how much that is from that meal. And it's easy for you to either plan out the week just for the day or have you go about it. So that's why I say you don't have to track your food forever in a sense. You just have to weigh it. Because again, you already understand like the amount of calories and macros that go into that meal over time. Two more sets here. I feel like I'm crooked. So it's always like a hard. That's why it takes so long to like get your body right, get your body prime. Now you can do it in a short amount of time, but at the same time, is your mental state ready? Are you ready? Are you ready to take the sacrifices? Are you willing to, you know, do what it takes to for a short time to get you ready for it, to get you primed for it? You know, that's a question you gotta answer yourself. And so that's why, you know, sometimes it takes longer. Like, and the same thing too, you gotta understand is like it didn't take you overnight to, you know, get yourself out of shape. You know, it took you a good while, right? Like it took you started one thing. It took you from like not going to gym take you from like going like maybe 3 times a week to two, maybe 2 times a week to one, or maybe be inconsistent. And then next thing you know, you're not showing up to the gym. That took you some time. Then it took you some time, like you got more lazy, like meal prepping. You got more lazy on like eating whole foods, so you start having more takeout. You start going more the cheaper route of fast food and things like that, which is not really cheap because it adds up over time. But you start doing those things, and you start kicking around, just being inconsistent with the six principles too. You just stop caring things that at the end. So it took you time to unlearn those things. And it's the same thing when you're trying to learn the principles, these principles I'm talking about. It's gonna take you some time to learn it, right? It might take you the same amount of time that you get yourself out of shape, or even longer. And that's the thing, you just have to accept it. Things just don't come because again, you have to get yourself in the momentum. You have to get yourself that consistency. You have to build that habit over time. And again, it takes months to build a habit. It doesn't take weeks. It takes months to build a habit. And then it takes like more months to build a lifestyle and things like that. Because again, you gotta understand like there's gonna be different factors that come across. Like, are you ready to face up to challenges while you're trying to start this journey, or while you're trying to go, head on with it full speed? One more. Yeah, that's nice. So at the end, it's just having better understanding. Now again, you know, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So maybe because you see someone else doing it, maybe your colleagues, maybe your relatives, maybe your friends, whomever, you might see them succeeding, excelling well. It's getting like one, you don't have the same like body as them. Two, their mentality might be different yours. And three, as they just keep showing up versus like you might show up for 1 week or two, then fall off for a week or two, and then just keep getting be inconsistent. So it's something you gotta also take into consideration is like at the end of the day, just show up for yourself. Don't focus on what other people are doing. You only can control what you can control. And the thing is, like, just because that person's winning doesn't necessarily mean you're losing in a sense, right? It's just, again, you can't compare your chapter to someone else's chapter, right? So at the end, just focus on yourself. Focus on what you need to do, what you need to prove, what you need to master, so you can get yourself ahead of game when down the road. Because again, you don't know what the other person's gonna do. Yeah, the person might be winning right now, but are they gonna be winning? 2, 5, 10 years down the road? You just don't know. But if you know you've been winning 2, 5, 10 years in a row, then it's something you gotta do this long term. It's something you gotta keep in consideration of like, cool, like if you know that person's gonna, give up with it or, not gonna sustain as long term, but you can and you will. And it's like, cool, that's what you're trying for, and that's what you're trying to prove on. And things that. So it's like trying to find ways where you can make this a lifestyle, make this a habit, make this a long term sustainable part of your journey. Things that. Hi, yo. That's enough overhead pressing. Onto cable out raises. All right, we got 6 sets of 10 here. I gotta make sure I found these out first, anyways. And the reason I say all these things too, because I've been through the mistakes. I've been through mistakes in bulk, yeah. Especially when I was in college, when my coach told me that I need to put on size and put on weight. At the time, like, cool, I understand the objective, but at one point, was there like, you know, the plan? At what point was there like a realistic goal to gain the weight, right? Was that 20 pounds? Was that 30? Was that 15? Who knows? Was that just getting more muscle, more mass? I was like, it wasn't more specific. But then I was naive at the time, right? So it's like, for me, kind of what I was saying earlier, it's like, I was just eating everything and everything aside. For me, it's like, cool, if I had point weight, it's like, instead of me having one meal, like, or like, let's say like, yeah, one meal for like lunch, I'll double my meal. So I'll double my meal for breakfast, I'll double my meal for lunch, and I'll double my meal for dinner. And on top of that too, I'll snack in between, that was between Flip bars, maybe Pop Tarts, maybe, whatever the school provided for us, right? And at times we have sometimes late nights, so it could be like a late night snack, a sweet treat. It could be something where it had like extra entree. Who knows on that part? I can't remember exactly, but at the same time, it's like I would just do that, year after year. And like when I did this year after year, time like as I getting compliments about being big, for sure, right? That was a great feeling. But at the time, I didn't realize how much of a negative impact it was having me internally. Like I was always feeling like shit. I was always inflamed, bloated. Yes, I would still have abs sticking out. It just wasn't healthy. It just wasn't sustainable too. So it's like over time, it's crazy how everything played out. But at the same time, could have like things been different. And what I know now kind of apply it back then 100%. But this is the whole point of the journey. This whole point of the process is like you live and you learn. You live different experiences. You learn about your body. You learn about how the plan works. You learn about how you know this amount of consumption is like it's working for you. And, like your mind blows. Like cool, you can eat this much and you can still look the same as opposed to before. Like you were eating this much, and you were like 15, 20 pounds different. So it's crazy to see how all these changes and how all this process just lays out for you to the point where it's like, damn, like, say like yeah, I was back 2, 3 years ago. It's like I wasn't looking this way and I wasn't doing things the right way too. Now it's like fast forward, it's like cool, everything's working in place, everything's working the way it needs to, and I'm looking the best ever, and I'm also feeling the best ever. And it's at the end, it's just like a win-win. And now moving forward in the future, I'll keep doing things that is working. And so, of course, there's always gonna be times where it might plateau, times where things might not be working. And that's where you have to make adjustments, and that's where you have to make, different approaches to certain things. Look on one here. I just said three. We got three more here. Yeah, I had something planned. I lost the thought. I'll probably come back to. But man, what was I gonna say? It's gonna be something good too. Don't you hate it when that happens? So you have an idea, you have a thought in your head, you can't wait to say it, and the next thing you know, you try to finish it, try to remember what it was, you just can't. It'll come back to me. It'll come back to me. But yeah, I mean, it's like just following the six principles, and this is like now it's like also too. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. You know, when I was getting ready for my cut, you know, yeah, like I was eating like 3,800, 36 to 3,800 calories, right? But at the same time, like I didn't know how quickly I would lose the weight and how quickly, things were, fall into place, right? It's like cool when I like got the powder and when I so able to have the fun foods. When I first started to cut, I cheated right at the rip, right? And then I had like a weekend, I cheated again on the weekend, things that, but I was still able to lose the weight, things that, but like as time goes on, I started learning about the journey. I started learning about the process and things that it's like, cool. Like things are falling into place, things are working. And it's like, I'm not going to extreme of like cardio. I'm just training hard. I'm just following the same principles that I always talk about, right? And so once I kept learning, once I kept adapting to the same things, and when I just kept tracking to my protein, my calories, it's like that's what everything just started falling into place. There's nothing easier, there's nothing better, there's nothing simple than you tracking on everything that's working and everything that's not working. So a lot of times too, you know, when you're tracking, when things are working, why try to fix things when it's not broken, right? And so when it comes to it's like when you're not tracking, it's like it might be working, you just don't realize it because it's such a short term positioning to the point where you're quitting or you're giving up and you try to move on to the next thing. And you're not giving yourself enough time to really trust the process. You're not really giving yourself enough time to see the changes or see how things are working. Because again, it takes months to figure out that things are responding well with the body. It's taking months to see like, cool, that this amount of food consumption is working for you. All those things along those lines, right? Like it takes us a while to get everything in order and get everything in check. And that's why it's very important to track, and especially when it comes to tracking your calories, your proteins, your fats, your carbs, all those things like that. Because you could be saying, like, yeah, I'm eating 4,000 calories and, you're not putting on muscle, but are you really though? Are you really eating 4,000 calories? And do you know for a fact exactly what you're eating, right? Do you know exactly the meals you're having? Do you know exactly the amount of, macros on each meal? You know exactly the total intake you are having a day? If you don't, then it's like you're not eating the amount you think you are. And this is where it's more mind opening or mind blowing and eye opening when it comes to like you tracking. Cause like when you see yourself, put like, if you think you have 6 ounce chicken, but until you realize you weigh yourself 6 ounce chicken, you might be under, you might be over, and it might just cause you a whole awakening because what you thought before is not what you see right now. Wow. I got one more set here. And I've been there, like, cause before, like, when I was in college, I never tracked a single. Yeah, I would never really weigh. I would weigh, but I would never track the amount of calories I was eating. I would never track the amount of protein I was eating. So even if I was in kind of surplus at the time when I was in school, I probably wasn't hitting my protein, and I probably was having way too many fats that I need to for my body. So I kind of carried that over when I moved down to Houston back in 2020. You know, I still kind of didn't, I was still weighing, but I didn't really start tracking my calories until the point, I think it was like 2021, that started to really track my calories, track my protein, all those things like that. And once I started doing that, I started realizing, it's like, damn, I was way under my protein. I probably was having at least like 180 grams of protein. And at the time, I was weighing like 240. So you can understand, like, too sure what happened. My mic just died right there, or the thing just turned off automatically. So I'll have to keep an eye on it for sure. But what I was saying is, like, yeah, when I was, I was tracking, I was had 180 grams of protein. All right. Do apologize that I had enough juice left in it to last me, but unfortunately, there was not enough juice. So take a little 5 minute intermission, charge up a little bit. So we should have enough to last the entire thing. But I feel what I was saying is, like, I was just under eating protein. So the first step I started working on was find different ways to increase the protein, right? And it took me a while because before I was a person that always did like 6 eggs, oatmeal in the morning, some like toast and things like that as well, peanut butter, blueberries, because I was doing what I was dealing with, you know, back to school. And then English muffins too sometimes as well. And then, too, I probably would say I would have ground beef, 3 out of 2 now, beef, 4 ground beef, meal 5 ground beef, or maybe like any meal 6 be like that. Yogurt snack, right? So at the time, like, didn't really know how like much I was consuming and really know like where I was lagging. So it's like once I started tracking, once I started figuring out what the issue was, I started working on that. Cool, starting increasing my protein first. Started finding different combinations, especially too when I first moved down here. I was doing turf landscaping, so you can already tell like I was already burning enough calories as it is, and I was already, you know, put myself in a position where I was doing a lot of activity and being, fatigued coming in the gym at nighttime. So it's like trying to find ways to optimize me doing turf landscaping while also trying to optimize me coming to the gym at 6 p.m. Still trying to have the energy, still have the motivation to, do the workouts and things like that. Thankfully, that job only lasted 3 months because it's something that wasn't just for little things that something I just didn't see myself keep doing. And so over time, move to the next job position, sales, sales marketing. I was doing like door to door. And then like, of course I was a little more active because I was on my feet all day, standing, walking around the neighborhoods, talking, all the things like that. And so I also had to take consideration I was getting like 5 or 6 miles a day, every single day. So I had to figure out how to adjust my workouts, adjust my food consumption based on that much of activity again. So I did that for like 9 months, right? I figured out like I'll wake up early in the morning, work out, come back, or I can get enough meal in, get myself ready and things like that, and head out by like 9:30 to go to a job. I'll be gone all the way till like 8 o'clock. So I was like, of course, I had the flexibility, I had the courage to take a little break, go, and this is what I would do too, as I'll bring my lunch with me. I'll go to the gas station, I'll heat up my meal, and then that was it. Instead of me wasting more money, trying to figure out, wasting time, trying to figure out what food I want, wasting money, spending on that, things like that, right? And wasting that meal by, what, that's not going to help me move towards my goals. So it was like, that's what I did when I was doing that for 9 months straight. And then fast forward, start working at a gym. The rest of the that, start learning more, start understanding the process more, start figuring out, having a more sustainable schedule. I, bring my gain, of course, always bring my meals. Of course, always make sure there's always like a microwave, something close by too. I can heat up. And then just stay on track of it. All right, we got 3 sets 12 here. Last set. Oh, we did better than last time. There were 2 sets instead of 1. And then I think we did the same amount as last week. All right. Oh, shit. All right, 4 sets of 25 here. Whew. So the pump's gonna be crazy. Last guy's gonna be crazy right now too. I can't say that. And then, fast forward 3 years since I started, working at a gym and things. As like doing 2 bodybuilding shows, where it's like, still falling the same Vulcan trap, where I felt like I still had to eat a lot of food, get to a certain weight. For me at the time it was like 250, 255. Try to pack on as much weight as possible, but I wasn't packing as much muscle as I need to. Kind of 40 pounds in 6 months the first time. Not proper rebounding, recovering after the first show. Gained 20 pounds, 15, 20 pounds after 1 week. Again, falling in the same trap. getting weight back up to 250, 255. Again, kind of following the same negative habits. Getting ready for the second show, doing the same thing. Had to lose like 30 pounds. And again, 6 months or less. And then I slowly started to learn that I was reverse dieting, recovering slowly. But again, my own negative habits of me doing food challenges. I mean, of course, they're off air, but I was always a person that was doing food challenges, every single time. And I would again, what you see on my channel with the food challenges is the same thing I would be doing way beforehand too. Kind of going back, what I was explaining before, as I would do food challenges all the time. And it was just for myself. Wasn't for show, wasn't for tell. I do, because again, I like to challenge to see how much I can eat, how much of a capacity my stomach has, all those things along those lines. And again, I'm a fat kid at heart. What can I say? So, doing that such early on, that's why my body crashed back in February. And again, at the same time, I was lifting heavy. And at the same time, I was pretty much training to failure every single set from the moment I started to the moment I finished. So it's to the point where it's my body can't recover and my body can't respond. My body just decide, crash and things like that. And then, going out to 2024, it's been waves. I'll go up and down, At some months I'll look great. Some months I'll look like shit. I just kept going waves and shit like that. And around sometime, I just want to take this shit seriously. That's when I was like, okay, enough is enough. If I want to get myself ready, if I want to look the way I want to, enough is enough. I got to plan this shit better. And then when I went to the cut again, I didn't know what to expect, what was going to happen. But it's I know if I follow the 6 principles, things will work out. If I keep tracking, keep figuring out what works, what doesn't, I'll keep working, I keep moving, things will keep flowing easily as time goes on. That's what it's been doing up to this point. One more set here. But now it's after I finished the cut, and yes, was I still having cheat meals while I was on the cut? 100%. But again, this time, I had better strategic plan. I had a better idea how to go about things. Now, fast forward when I, jumped back up to maintenance, again, I didn't know what to expect. Increase my calories back up to my maintenance and how my body was going to respond. But just looking at it, it's just one way better than it has ever been before. So now it's when I'm doing these food challenges, again, all the things I learned about when I was cutting, I'm still kind of applying the same idea while kind of maintain bulk, if you want to call it, to the point where it's cool. I eat this amount of calories, let's say 4,000, eat throughout the entire week. When I get ready to do the food challenge, I may have 1 or 2 meals on that day, save myself some room for calories. go enjoy that meal. And then that's how I do it. And then after the food challenge, that weekend, that day, the following day, I would reduce my calories again a little bit because I got extra calories stored left over from those 2 days. And then that day after the food challenge, I'm good to go. I'm back on my plan and things are rock and roll. Body's just fine. Metabolism kicking. I'm recovering. And then that's all I can really be grateful for. It's enough lat raises on the front raises. All right, here we go. Shoulder pump. Yeah, that's what we're looking at right now, 235. You can see the boulders are coming in place. See the real delt, side delt, everything like that is coming in. Again, the right shoulder needs a little bit more work, but things were coming along across. Everything's there. As you can see, shoulders are looking good. I mean, from what they used to be a couple years ago, wasn't the same. But as you can see, hi y'all, that was it for the show workout. Again, I don't know where I cut off, but at the same time, just learning how, just going through about journey, just learning about, the foods that are working, learning about all these things, tracking calories, tracking your proteins, tracking everything, find what's working, what's not, and what's working, keep doing it over until things plateau, things you need to make small adjustments and do so. On that, we got legs tomorrow. You have a blessed day. I'll catch you then.